Okay, now reducing fractions with prime factorization. Reducing fractions is another way of saying find the lowest equivalent fraction. That's because you are normally trying to reduce a proper fraction to its simplest form. Let's take a look at 6/8. Now, this is one way of being able to reduce the fraction by using prime factorization. So, if we take a look at this, we're going to say, okay, well, let's take a look at the numerator. We have 6. And what's the prime factorization of 6? We're going to create the factor tree. What two numbers can you multiply to get 6? Well, that's 2 and 3. So the prime factorization of 6 is 2 times 3. Okay, then we're going to look at the denominator, which is 8. And we're going to find the prime factorization of 8. Now, the prime factorization of 8 is 2 times 4, which then can be broken down into 2 times 2. So the prime factorization of 8 is 2 times 2 times 2. So what that means is we're going to take the fraction 6/8, and then what we're going to do is we're going to break it down into its prime form. Well, the prime factorization for 6 is 2 times 3. And the prime factorization of 8 is 2 times 2 times 2. So now what we want to do is we want to simplify anything in the numerator and denominator that can become 1. Well, if you see here, this 2 and this 2 divided by 2 is going to make that 1. Okay, and so now there's no other factors that we can simplify. So if we take a look at the numerator, now we have 1 times 3, which is going to give us 3 in the numerator. In the denominator, we're going to have 1 times 2, which is 4. So therefore, we reduce this fraction to 3/4. Let's take a look at example 2. Example 2, we want to be able to reduce the fraction 3/9. So if we take a look at 3, we already know it's a prime number. So 3 is the prime factorization of 3. Now 9 in the denominator can be broken down into 3 times 3. So the prime factorization of 9 is 3 times 3. So let's rewrite this fraction 3/9 into its prime factorization form. Well, 3 in the numerator is 3 in its prime factorization form. 9 in the prime factorization form is 3 times 3. And now we're going to take a look at the numerator and denominator and see if we can simplify 1. Well, we can see that this 1, 3 can go into this 3, which leaves us with 1 in the numerator and denominator. And denominator also has a 3 in it. We can't simplify any further, so now what we're going to do is just multiply. So in the numerator, we have a 1 remaining. In the denominator, we have 1 times 3, which is 1/3. Next, we want to have 4/10. So we want to be able to reduce this by using, again, prime factorization. So if we take a look at the number 4, if we break it down into its prime form, this is going to be 2 times 2. And then for 10, when we break it down into its prime form, it is 2 and then 5, so therefore that is 2 times 5. So now we're going to rewrite this fraction 4/10 into its prime factorization form. So 4 is the same thing as 2 times 2, and 10 is the same thing as 2 times 5. Okay, now we want to ask ourselves, what can we simplify to 1? Well, this 2 goes into this 2 one time, and there's no other common factors for us to simplify. And so therefore, multiplying across, 1 times 2 is going to give us 2, and then 1 times 5 is going to give us 5, and therefore that is the reduced fraction. Now, yes, you can look at this in another way where you can find common factors and simplify, but this is just one way of being able to reduce fractions with prime factorization.